Hey there, Cobbers. I'm Jack.
And I'm Parker.
And this week we have...
Summer and fall class registration courses released.
In sports, the grass is green and the girls are kicking.
In A&E, a royal conundrum.
All that and more on Concordia on Air. Hey, Cobbers. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So to catch up on what Parker and I were talking about, we were talking about our current reads. Mine was called Winter's Tale, 800 pages long. When I went into it, I was like, you know what, this is going to be a pretty epic book, and not epic like really good, epic like an epic like Homer. And it was really boring. About 300 pages in, I was like, you know what? This is one of the worst books I've ever read, but I'm already almost halfway through, so I'm just going to finish it. Took me 5 months. Do not read it. Not my recommendation.
Don't read it.
Yeah.
I do commend you for sticking through and finishing it, though. That is an admirable quality.
I call it perseverance.
Yes.
My mom calls it stubbornness, but that's just me. How about you, Parker?
A recent book that I've read, Where the Crawdads Sing. It's a thriller, a little bit of a drama thriller about a girl. It jumps between her childhood and her adulthood of growing up in a swamp in North Carolina. It's a murder mystery tale. It's very scary. There's a little bit of romance. Something for everyone, maybe not the kids though. But it had been on the New York Times bestseller list for a while. Like it was keeping its momentum anyways to being a really good book recommended by many authors. And I recommend it too. It's a beautiful story. And it's just fun to sit down and read sometimes. If anyone wants to borrow the copy, hit me up.
Now, is this a new book or is this one that came out a few years ago?
It's a newer book. I remember it was released at it's probably been out for a year now. It was released at the beginning of the pandemic in March, and I think that's why it gained traction so quickly, because everyone was staying home looking for things to do, and then everyone was like, this is a really good book. Everyone should read it, and a lot of people happen to have time to be at home to read a book. So I think that's partly why Where the Crawdads Sing did so well, but it also does so well because it's just an amazing book. It's beautiful.
No, yeah, I would definitely agree with your last statement. I mean, I haven't read since sophomore year of high school when it was still required. I haven't read leisurely since middle school. And then when COVID hit, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be intellectual. I'm going to start reading. So I was going to read Wuthering Heights, dropped that, read the entire Twilight series in 2 weeks, and then I started Winter's Tale. So, I mean, I've been trying to read more. I don't know. How about you? Have you been reading during quarantine, or has it been a long time since?
Absolutely not. I have made a lot of promises to myself at the beginning of this pandemic. It's now a year in. Have I kept any of those promises? Absolutely not. But
Great.
We are surviving and we're thriving. So I'm not too mad. Did you make any pandemic-related resolutions where, we really got into the start of lockdown, and did you think of anything like, I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. every morning, or I'm going to work out, or anything like that?
Well, I was going to do the workout. Never happened. I already wake up at like 7 a.m.
Okay,
so
that's impressive. Good for you.
I would say the one thing that I actually wanted to do was learn how to cut my own hair, because I was so desperate at one point. I did cut my own hair. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, during quarantine, everyone kind of looked a little,
Yeah.
So I made it through. But after not getting a haircut for 4 months, I got really desperate. I also wanted to start a new TV show. I just finished Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was one that I started. And I finished New Girl. I've always gotten to like season 5, and then I've just kind of fallen off, and I don't know why.
I feel like that's a very common theme. I think maybe sometimes people just get burned out. That's what I did with Schitt's Creek, and I was so sad, and then I finally revisited it about a month ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like the best season. Why did I end here? I think that's a somewhat of a common occurrence. You get through it, and then it's like, okay, I need a break.
And especially during like early quarantine where we were all just stuck in our homes for those first 2 or 3 months, I think maybe that's another reason too, where all we were doing was watching. I mean, I was one of the lucky ones where I worked at a grocery store, so I was constantly out of the house. And I'm going to take back lucky ones because I was constantly exposing myself too. But I mean, yeah, just sticking in and watching the same thing over and over can kind of get repetitive.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of really interesting changes from just a year ago of how we had to adapt our lives and how we like consume media nowadays. Definitely a future discussion we should have.
Definitely. A future discussion because we're moving on to news.
Welcome to our news desk today. My name is Andrew.
My name is Glory.
As we approach the end of the semester, the schedule for registration of summer and fall classes has been released in an updated by the registrar's office on March 12th, the 2021st. Class schedules will be live. Advising and consultation will be from March 17th to 24th. From April 8th to 13th, registration for classes will occur. However, the registrar office noted, and I quote, "It is important to note that the schedule posted in March may change over the coming months. If health conditions and rates of vaccinations allow, some courses are currently being planned in blended formats may shift to fully in person. All students are advised to frequently keep an eye on their emails and Cobanet accounts to ensure they are up to date and that they don't miss out on any information."
Concordia receives Silver Star rating for sustainability. Concordia's sustainability efforts have been recognized by the Advancement for Sustainability in Higher Education, AASHE. The college has received a Silver Star rating from the Sustainability Tracking Assessment and Rating System, STARS. The secret to this achievement, as explained by the Concordia Sustainability Coordinator, Jackie Maas, is through taking a comprehensive approach to integrate sustainability efforts into college operation, from dining services to facilities management, and the work of the entire campus community contributed to this achievement. And some key drivers to the most recent rating includes Concordia's greenhouse gas emission tracking and carbon reduction planning, the Concordia College recent B Campus certification, and many more.
The trials in Minneapolis. After a period of investigation, trials against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin will commence this week. The event will be aired live through a collaboration with the University of St. Thomas and Hollin University. To ensure that Concordia community stays aware and informed, the school will allow gathering in both small and large groups for communal support. Students who would like to follow up on the event should contact the Office of the Diversity, Campus Ministry, or trusted members of the community. Additionally, for faculty seeking resources for discussion of these trials within or beyond their classes, please contact Dr. Edward Antonio, Concordia's Chief Diversity Officer. In his message, President William Kraft emphasized that, and I quote, "We watch them knowing that we are called to influence the affairs of the world, to be thoughtful and informed as we, and with the Christ-like love of neighbors, near and far."
Minnesota expands vaccine eligibility ahead of schedule. The Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says the state is reaching its goal of vaccinating 70% of people 65 years and older this week. This puts the state's timeline several weeks ahead of schedule. There is still much higher demand than there is supply, but supply is increasing every week, says Walz. The state is expanding eligibility to the next two groups in the line simultaneously. That includes people with specific underlying medical conditions, including sickle cell diseases, Down syndrome, oxygen-dependent chronic lung or heart conditions, those who are in active cancer treatment or immunocompromised from an organ transplant. Eligibility is also expanding to people 45 to 64 years old with at least one underlying medical condition, ages 16 to 44 with at least two underlying conditions, and people 50 years or older in multi-generational households. Although the vaccines are being made available to two groups at once, priorities will still be given to those most at risk, and health officials continue to urge basic safety precautions like wearing masks and social distancing.
And now into a sad story. Following the explosions at Munitions Depot on Sunday, March 7th, that left at least 105 people dead, Equatorial Guinea has announced a 3-day national mourn. During this period, flag at all places in the country will be at half-mast. President Obiang Nguema noted that the munitions caught fire due to neighboring farmers clearing land by setting fire on, which led to explosions. He, however, blamed the incident on farmers on what he termed as negligence. According to the Vice President, Teodoro Obiang, a clearance of the rubble will be not less than 10 days. In step to foster rescuing missions, the U.S. government has sent a team of experts whose medical equipment and drugs are expected to land to the country today from Spain.
The Equatorial Guinea blast killed dozens, and at least 20 people were killed and more than 500 injured when explosions at the military base rocked Equatorial Guinea's largest city. The four massive blasts, attributed to mishandled explosives in the port city of Bata, a former capital, was sent giant plumes of smoke into the air and destroyed dozens of buildings. Images broadcast on state-run television showed injured residents fleeing. Some seemed to be carrying bodies, and others fled through the streets, some with suitcases and children in hand, underneath the darkened sky. Following Sunday's disaster, the country's Ministry of Health and Social Welfare declared a health emergency and said many were still missing under the rubble. And now to the interview with.
Hey Calvers, I'm Jack again, and today I'm going to be interviewing Abby Peterson. She is an MSUM student, kind of a rare sight over here on Concordia. So Abby, if you could just introduce yourself with your name, your major, your minor, and where you're from originally.
Okay, my name's Abby Peterson. I go to MSUM here in Moorhead. I'm an elementary inclusive education major, and I'm originally from Albertville, Minnesota.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Abby, again for being here today. So my first question for you is, Abby, what's it like to be a first-year student at MSUM?
It's pretty good so far. I think I'm liking it. It's nice being in like 2 classes per day instead of like 8 hours of classes and then like going home and doing homework. So that's really good.
And how's dorm life treating you?
Pretty good. I have a roommate. She's really cool. I like living like with a bunch of people and not just like by myself or with my family.
And of course, this is an obvious factor that I had to ask about. How's COVID-19 treating your first year of college?
It's a little rough. There are definitely some negative parts, but I think there's also like positives. Like, I don't know, it's been nice to like do my own thing with classes. Like not having everything in person every day has been really good because I have 2 that are like fully online, so that's cool.
Yeah, okay, and you were starting to talk about the positives of COVID-19. I know this has been a topic that I've talked about before on this show, and one of my favorite things is like how convenient it is to have online classes. They're not the best thing in the world because like there's definitely the distractions of being at home during class. But what about you? Do you like online classes more?
I think I like the mix because I'm definitely not the type of person that can like focus on online all the time, but I have 2 days that are just fully online and then 3 that I like go to classes. So I think it's a good like balance right now.
Now, do you think you're going to be ready for next year when everything starts switching back to the normal schedule? We're both first years, so I mean, we don't know what normal is supposed to look like in college, so it's kind of going to be another first year for us.
Yeah, it might be a little rough. I think like having classes in person every day is going to be like weird to get used to, but also good because then I'll like meet people and stuff. But.
And are there any classes that you're excited for?
Just more like in my major, because I know in high school, like I just took like random math classes and stuff, and now I get to actually like work with kids, because like elementary school teacher. So.
Yeah, of course. And are there any activities that you're involved in right now at MSUM?
Not right now, but maybe once we actually get to do stuff in person. That's a little questionable.
Oh, okay. And then a common question that we have to ask, any jobs? I mean, balancing the college life and the work life. Have anything there?
Right now, I work at Old Navy, and that's been pretty good to balance because I like get to go off campus, but nothing like on campus.
Now, for an MSUM student, you definitely have a lot of different things than Concordia does. I mean, I just found this out. They have a Jamba Juice. I don't know why we don't have that. I want a Jamba Juice so bad. We have a coffee stop. I don't drink coffee, but smoothies, I would go ham.
It's definitely good. I love having that on campus. It's very convenient.
Now, Abby is a friend of mine, and she has been on both campuses before. Are there things that you like more about Concordia than MSUM?
The food here is so much better. So much better than my school.
Sorry, that's so funny, because like, that's something our Concord jokes about is like, there's some really good foods, and then there's some not really good foods. Now, on the opposite side of things, what's better at MSUM?
Well, it's nice to have Jamba. We also have a Starbucks and a Caribou, so that's nice. And I really like just the facilities we have for like studying. There's a lot of like separate places to go where there's not like people all around. So that's really nice for like focusing.
And a lot of your buildings are newer too, right?
Yeah, definitely newer than here. I think we're just a newer campus in general, so all of the dorms are like renovated and everything.
Okay, and now a common question is, study abroad, yes, no?
Oh my gosh, I would be so down.
Where do you want to go?
Anywhere in Europe is what I'm thinking, but I'm not really picky. I just want to go anywhere.
Just take me, please.
Exactly, out of Minnesota.
And do you think after MSUM you're going to continue more school or go right into the workforce?
Probably right into working because I'm going to be student teaching my senior year, so then I'll get to like meet people in the workforce and like actually get into teaching.
Okay, cool. And then I guess another question for you would be, what made you choose MSUM?
It's a really good distance from my house, and I have a couple family friends up here that already went here, so.
And do you think it's a school that you would recommend for other students as well?
Definitely. I love MSUM so far. It's been really good. Like, the community is really nice. I haven't met anyone that's been, like, hard to get along with, so.
Gotcha. Okay. And I remember when I came to Concordia, something that was kind of a downside for me was the Fargo-Moorhead area as a whole. I've learned to love it since. Well, love it since. But what about you, Abby? Any pluses to Fargo?
I think I really like the area. It's definitely bigger than St. Michael Albertville, but I think that's a good thing.
And any favorite spots you like to go to?
Starbucks.
Okay. Wow. And you have a Starbucks on campus.
Yes.
What a flex. All right. Thank you so much, Abby, for joining us today. And we're going to move on to sports.
Happy March 10th, sports fans, or should I say Mario Day to those who celebrate. And spring sports have sprung back into action at Concordia. Well, at least one of them has. The softball team has begun their year with an even 3 wins and 3 losses. All of their 3 two-game series have resulted in each team winning 1 game apiece. Against Minnesota Morris, they won their opening game by a score of 7-2, but dropped game 2 5-4. The team lost their first game against Minnesota Crookston 4-2, but came back with a 1-0 nail-biter in the nightcap. And yesterday, the women took care of business against Bethany Lutheran in game 1 by a score of 4-1, but also lost the second game 10-5. But in that span, senior pitcher Megan Gavin was able to collect her 300th career strikeout, something only 3 other Concordia softball players have been able to do. Gavin and the rest of the Cobbers will play next on Friday against Wisconsin Superior on March 12th. The women's soccer team is also back on the field for the first time in 492 days. They took a trip across the cemetery to take on the Dragons of MSUM. They matched up well against the Division II competition, but the Dragons were the ones who came out on top by a score of 2-0. The team still has yet to finalize their schedule for the spring season, so when they will be back in action remains up in the air. But at least this break between games will be much shorter than the last. In other spring sports news, the baseball team will play their first game of the season at US Bank Stadium on Thursday against Wisconsin Superior. And now, I hope you like bells.
Hi, I'm Jack Bullman. I'm a junior. I'm a heart performance major, and I'm in handbells.
My name's Katie Oren. I am a senior here at Concordia. I'm a communications major.
My name is Hannah Gilsdorf, and I am the student manager for the handbell choir.
The Concordia handbell choirs have been an integral part of the campus community for as long as they have existed. Those in Concordia Concert Handbells this year often speak about the community and camaraderie that can be found in the group. Because of the nature of handbells, cooperation is imperative for a natural-sounding result. Consequently, members of the group become very close to each other.
My favorite thing is the community aspect. I really love gathering every Tuesday with a really small group of super talented musicians and just playing handbells.
I think it's really cool that the melody gets constantly passed through all the players. It's not like a bigger or different ensembles where one instrument will have the melody. You need the whole group to play a line, and I think that's a really fun aspect.
Each individual player in handbells has only 2 to 4 notes that they are responsible for, plus the sharps and flats associated with them. As a result, ringers must work closely together and count carefully to ensure their part fits nicely into the piece as a whole. In order to play a long run, for example, each person in the choir must be fully focused. Still, members find handbells to be a great way to relieve stress.
Like I said, it's just a really fun experience. It's honestly one of my biggest stress relievers. Just being able to, like I said, the muscle memory thing, once you get enough rehearsal under your belt, it just becomes like doing the mechanics, and you actually feel really graceful. Usually with a handbell, you think you're just like ringing it, but like you get some motions down and it just starts like all coming together, and then you go, oh my gosh, it sounds like an actual song. And yeah, so it's a great stress reliever. So I think that's how it's really impacted me.
This has been Casey and Lance with Concordia on Air, signing off.
Welcome back to A&E, everyone. Mary, we have a nail-biter of a story today. I'm sure a lot of people have seen on various social media platforms what has went down with Meghan and Harry. Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey pertaining to their struggles with the royal family. Prince Harry is the son of Prince Philip, Charles, William.
Not William.
One of those three, and the beloved Princess Diana.
He's the only one who matters.
The only one that really matters in this situation. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah.
But recently, Prince Harry has opted to leave his family behind and leave the luxuries that come with royal life in order to protect his wife Meghan and his young son Archie. Because they've experienced some issues with the royal family. Mary, would you like to jump into any of those issues? Because there's a few of them.
Yeah, of course. First of all, yeah, I didn't watch the full interview. However, I am very much caught up on it. Thank you, Twitter.
Yes.
But yeah, it is something to really unravel and unpackage and just look at and say, wow, I wonder how long this has been going on for anybody.
Wow,
in
the royal family is a bad institution. I did say that.
Yeah, you did say that. I mean, then again, we're in America. We can talk about the firm as much as we want.
Yes, very true.
Yeah, but definitely I think the first thing that comes up, albeit we are white, so we can't really say much about this personally, but talking about it as allies, the whole deal with race and how horrible Meghan was treated, and some of the comments that were allegedly said about the concerns about their son's skin color and stuff like that. That was just...
Yes, so Meghan Markle, in her interview with Oprah, she stated that there was general talk around the family and general concern about how dark Archie, their son, was going to be when he was born. And depending on how dark his skin was, then came into question what kinds of things he would be allowed to have as a member of the royal family, whether that would be a prince title, security measures, I guess everything that goes along with it, and that's extremely troubling. Recently, the Queen has released a statement on social media explaining that she is deeply troubled to hear these allegations. Mm-hmm. But from what we know, it's probably not a surprise, right? Like, this isn't some big, like, what? This was going on? Like, I'm sure all the members of the royal family were keenly aware of what was going on.
Mm-hmm. However, I do believe Oprah did come out the day after this interview aired in America and said that between takes or behind the scenes, Harry did say that the Queen and her husband were not the people giving these statements or giving their unwanted 2 cents about the topic.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is still unclear whether we still don't know who has made these statements, but Meghan did mention in the interview that it would be very damaging to have like that information out, probably very damaging to Archie. So that kind of connotates that I believe that it was a family member who made those statements, whether that was not explicitly said though. Is there any other certain highlights from the interview that really...
Yeah, definitely. I think one that caught my eye was the whole debacle between Meghan and Kate Middleton. Mm-hmm. After this whole thing, I wasn't really a fan of her at first, but after it and looking at, of course, slightly biased reactions on Twitter, I'm not going to lie, but That and comparisons in British media, in particular between Middleton and Markle, the two, just that whole thing going on, I was very surprised. It was eye-opening. Because typically, as a female, I'd like to look to my female companions and say, hey, I want to rely on you for stuff and not have you backtalk me or my decisions. Because already, if I were in the eye of the media like that, I would just not be in this, like, I feel very unfortunate for Meghan's mental health. And I'm
Yes.
glad that at least her and Harry have gotten out of that situation using, I believe Harry said, the money that Diana left behind for him.
And that was an amazing thing too. So I am not very knowledgeable on the inner workings of the royal family and how money is transferred down the line. Well, apparently, since his older brother, Prince William, will take the throne, he would then inherit the family's wealth, leaving Harry with nothing. Because the way that succession works in the British royal family, siblings really are not entitled to anything. They still get a lot of perks of being a part of the royal family, but they don't essentially have an income that is just given to them for certain things. So Princess Diana really, their mother really made the smart choice of leaving her entire wealth to Harry because she knew that William was going to benefit, regardless from just being the older brother.
Yeah, I think this interview that Oprah conducted was very eye-opening, and honestly, I think it was a long time coming. I did see a tweet saying, okay, next we need to interview Prince Andrew, and instead of Oprah, it's the police.
Yes, and that is another problematic claim from this whole situation is people are saying, and I think that we can focus on more than one thing at a time in media, but they were saying we focus so much solely on these two members of the royal family who are experiencing difficulty. Why aren't we talking about known allegations made against Prince Andrew?
That's very true. That is another discussion for another time, but like I said, I think that what has happened, I think it's eye-opening to show that it doesn't just happen in America, it happens in other very glamorous countries as well. But now, on from a downer subject to something more happy, a game.
And by happy, we mean we're going to make fools of ourselves, because that's what we do here on Concordia on Air. So today, the game is going to be between two giant competitors who have never been matched before, I do not think. Grant on my right, your left, and Parker coming in on my left, your right. What are they going to be doing, you ask? We have come up with a game called Blindfolded Artist, and in season of COVID, they will be blindfolded with masks. Probably not the smartest thing in the world, but whatever. This one's for you. This one's for you. You know how to put it over your eyes, I hope.
Yes.
You gotta.
Yeah, just do it?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. All right. So how Blindfolded Artist works is that both of our artists will be handed a highlighter. Parker.
I feel like I'm making a political statement right now. Mask up, Minnesotans.
Yeah, okay. And they will be drawing one of these beautiful art pieces. Note that princess is spelled wrong. That's because I got these pictures totally legally. Wink, wink. All right. They have 1 minute. I'm going to be handing out the boards. Do not draw anything yet. They have 1 minute to color in as much of the picture as they can. I'll be the judge because I'm not biased, hopefully. But again, they'll have 1 minute. You guys got this? That's the best part. You don't know where the picture is.
Okay, so I'm just coloring different elements of it.
Yeah, you're just trying to color in as much as you can. Whoever has the best masterpiece, Leonardo DiCaprio style, wins. All right, 1 minute, starting now.
Is there things on this?
I don't know.
Is there a drawing like already on this? Like, am I just coloring it in?
Yeah. And you are going to make it the most beautiful thing that this world has ever seen. Probably not as good as the Mona Lisa, but at least better than Vincent van Gogh. 26 seconds down. 30 seconds to go.
Okay.
You're halfway done. I'm really liking where Parker is going with his, not going to lie. Grant is going for a very abstract cubism look. It has something that I've never seen before.
I just know the famous picture of her in that like dress walking
And I hope it's that, because that's the only picture of Princess Diana I've ever seen.
I love Princess Diana.
You know, I don't remember saying Diana, but this is a different princess in my heart.
Oh, no.
One who's just as close.
The A&E segment got to me.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop drawing. All right, I'll gather the pieces. You guys can take off your blindfolds, and you can put the highlighter on the table. A little bit to your left. There you go. There you go. Great, great. All right, here we go. You were pink again. Okay. On my left, we have Parker Erickson with his piece, which I like to call Princess of My Heart.
Oh, oh. Claps for Parker.
This is really good. I really enjoy this. All right. And then on my right is Grant, and I call this piece Princess of My Stroke.
Orangey glad I didn't say Diana.
I'm going to give you negative points for that.
Hey, at least I got a little crown on there.
All right. I will say this crown is pretty excellently placed.
But, if we look at mine, I have hearts, stars. I made a sun. I drew a little sun for Hello Kitty. A lot of intricate lines and details.
Yeah, but also you gave Hello Kitty a beard. So, I mean, it matters what perspective you're looking at.
And is there anything wrong with Hello Kitty having a beard?
This is what I'll say. As the judge, I would say if the year was 1950 or before, this would be our winner. But I'm looking for a more modern take. And this is it, folks. Grant is the next artist. Blindfold artist. This piece will be sold at auction starting at $2,000. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us, Cobbers. We love when you're here, and we can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.